Hey guys, this is the Vesper, a compact, injection-molded brushless flywheel primary blaster by Hair Technology, or HC in short. Thank you very much to IFV for lending me this early review unit. Also thank you to Alexander from Light Wizards for filming, and NomadOneZero for helping with the intro footage. This Vesper is HC's second blaster. Of course, most of us will know HC's first blaster, the revolutionary brushless flywheel pistol Diana, which was released about 2 years ago. Since then, we have been patiently waiting for HC's next big release, and it has finally come. Is the Vesper worth the wait? Let's take a look at the outdoor and indoor grouping tests first. The first grouping test is conducted outdoors with high humidity. The wind condition is moderate but erratic. I am aiming for a human-sized target center mass at 15 meters. My red dot sight is roughly 0 to hit a 15-meter target. The Vesper is hitting around 180 FPS with 1 gram regular worker darts. I have also set the hyper mode to maximum speed. Despite the erratic winds, the Vesper is able to hit the human-sized target at 15 meters 8 out of 10 times, which is above my expectation, as I have used other flywheel blasters with the equivalent FPS, but with much less accuracy. However, I noticed that some of the darts were drifting off slightly with the wind when nearing the target. I am guessing slightly heavier darts at 1.2 gram regular worker darts may be more stable during flight, and may be better for outdoor windy conditions. I may repeat this outdoor grouping test again with heavier darts when I get my hands on my own Vesper next time. Now for the indoor grouping test with a 10-meter target using both 1 gram and 1.2 gram regular worker darts. It seems that with hyper mode and semi-fire, 1.2 gram regular worker darts have tighter groupings than the 1 gram ones, and are definitely worth considering and testing further with. I did not manage to capture the groupings in burst and full auto modes, as my camera phone got hit with a stray dart. But this Vesper is definitely a beast at close quarters. The rate of fire is awesome with full auto, and burst modes are really fun to use. This is really great for overwhelming opponents, for suppressive fire, and for controlling choke points, corners, and corridors. The Vesper will definitely destroy anyone within 20 meters, physically and psychologically. This is also a good time to test the heat indicator strip at the left side of the Vesper. When the entire strip turns red at the tip, it is best to stop operations and let the blaster cool down. After firing about 150 shots in about 20 minutes with hyper mode, the indicator shows the blaster is still okay and within normal operating parameters. The blaster cooled down quite quickly and the strip turned black again in about 5 minutes. Of course, the heat generated will depend on many factors. Full auto fire in hyper mode and playing outdoors in hot weather will definitely generate more heat. And here's a quick look at the 4S Lipo for the Vesper. HC informed that the blaster can do about 450 shots with a full charge. Here is a quick check after about 150 shots in hyper mode. The voltage has dropped from 16.8 volts to 16 volts. How many more shots do you think the Vesper can do before needing a battery change? Do comment in the comment section below. Let's proceed to the in-depth review. Here is the box that the Vesper comes in. Do pause the video if you want to take a closer look. Please note that this is an early review unit, so the actual items and quantity provided for the main production batch may be different. This Vesper was already pre-assembled by IFB when I borrowed it from them. Please note that the Vesper will require some simple assembly out of the box. And here is the early review unit in teal. It has a controller with screen installed on it. I understand that the controller is a separate add-on and upgrade and does not come in the box. But I believe the blaster will come with at least one 16-round magazine out of the box. The magazine is translucent and sturdy and is similar to the Diana magazine, except it holds 16 darts instead of 10 darts. It also uses the same type of constant force spring. Let's take a closer look at the blaster. It has an orange muzzle and it can be screwed off to mount your own tracer units or fake decorative suppressors. As mentioned earlier, it has a heat indicator inside the handguard on the left side, and it turns red to indicate how much heat the blaster has accumulated. There are M-lock slots at the sides and bottom of the handguard. There are plenty of vent holes and big metal heat sinks at the handguard to dissipate heat, as the blaster pushes air out to cool itself when firing. There is a molded short dart design and molded words at the sides of the handguard. The top Picatinny rail has nice curves and stretches across the entire blaster. Here's the viewing window, which is only on the left side, to check for jams or empty magazines. The pusher cannot be seen very clearly from the side, but it has a roller at the tip to help with smoother feeding of darts and to reduce likelihood of jams from damaged darts. The mag well is big and flat for easy mag reloading. The ambidextrous mag release button is big and easy to press, which allows for smooth mag drops. This button activates the hyper and cold mode. In hyper mode, the Vesper's flywheels pre-spin in idle mode to allow for faster firing. The default pistol grip is textured and comfortable, but I think it is not compatible and swappable with other types of grips other than the another Vespers. The trigger feels nice and tactile like a mouse click. I love the ambidextrous fire selector. It is easy and smooth to operate with either the thumb or index finger. X means safe, S means semi or burst mode, and A means auto. The buttstock is collapsible and it feels very sturdy with very little flex. It extends and collapses by pressing the top button at the end or by pinching both buttons at the sides. It does not feel like it will collapse by itself even with force. The butt pad is textured and comfortable to shoulder. There is also a molded logo and words at the middle sides of the blaster. This rear-mounted controller with non-foldable screen is sold separately. I understand that there are two types, one with a foldable screen and this one with a non-foldable screen. According to IFB, it is very easy to install. Inserting the battery is straightforward. Just push the button to extend the buttstock and push and hold down the button to slide the battery bay cover off. The connector is XT60. And this is the default HC4S Lipo battery which I showed earlier during the indoor grouping test. It is probably custom made to fit the battery bay nicely. Here is a quick size comparison between the Vesper battery and the Diana battery. You can either plug in the battery first and then insert it into the bay, or insert the battery into the bay first and plug it in after. You can also leave the battery unplugged inside the battery bay for short-term storage. The blue color side should be facing upwards with the wires at the back for a proper fit. Slide and close the cover. Here is the status LED, which is also similar to the Diana status LED. Green means normal, slow flashing green means low battery, fast flashing green means there is a problem with the battery or connection, and red means the battery is flat. Now that the blaster is switched on, let's take a look at the controller. As mentioned earlier, it comes with either a foldable or non-foldable screen and is an add-on which will cost around 75 to 80 Singapore dollars. I did encounter this error message a couple of times during testing. Not to worry, just press enter again and the screen will return. The heads-up display mode shows the current fire selector mode and hyper or cold mode. It is definitely a very cool feature to have for a blaster. It will also display an empty mag status if the empty mag detection module and mag with empty lock function are used. More on this later on. Here is a comparison of the fire selections with cold and hyper modes. In hyper mode, the flywheels are pre-spinning, and you can hear a slight humming sound. Toggle between different modes using the small joystick at the side of the controller. This is the modify mode. The FPS can be adjusted using this option. Without this controller, the Vesper can be adjusted to 3 preset FPS levels: about 59 FPS, about 148 FPS, and about 180 FPS. With the controller, the FPS can be tuned from about 43 FPS to about 180 FPS. The rate of fire can also be adjusted with the controller. About 600, 700, 800, 900, and 1000 rounds per minute. The default setting of the rate of fire without the controller is 900 rounds per minute. The semi and burst settings can be adjusted. Without the controller, you can do semi, 2 round bursts, and 3 round bursts. With the controller, you can go from semi all the way to 5 round bursts. To further toggle with the settings, please make sure that the Pro mode option under the settings mode is selected. The hyper mode speed determines how fast the flywheels are pre-spinning at. The default hyper mode speed is 20%, but with the controller, you can go all the way up to 50%, which is what I was using throughout this video to reduce spin-up time as much as possible. The hyper weight can also be set to 100% with the controller versus the preset 40%. Honestly, I'm not that good with flywheel blaster settings, but I think a longer hyper weight will increase the delay between each shot, but will allow the flywheels to reach optimal speeds and have more consistent shots. Next is cold break. I guess 100% cold break is best for performance, but may lead to more heat generation and faster wear and tear. Next is boat stop, which can be switched on for use with the empty mag detection module add-on and mags with empty lock function, which will be released in the future. However, I believe this function will only work exclusively with mags with empty lock functions, and the module cannot use normal Vesper or Dynamax. In the pet mode, the pet is supposed to display various animations, but it seems that it does not work well with this early review unit. I understand that HC will be fixing this issue for the main production batch. Personally, this pet mode is just something for fun, and I do not find it particularly useful compared to the heads-up display function, so it does not bother me at all. Let's go more in-depth to the more important functions of the Vesper, one of them being the reloading process. As mentioned earlier, the ambidextrous mag release button is smooth and allows for easy mag drop and unload. However, do load the mag with a little bit more force, or give it a light tap or step at the end to make sure the mag is seated properly. Dynamax are compatible with the Vesper, but I did find 2 Dynamax which are slightly thicker and do not mag drop properly. I'm guessing these 2 mags are from the earliest batch. The rest of my 20 or so Dynamax drop out just fine. So do try them out in advance at home before you try to do some John Wick mag drops or mag flips in-game. If you have third-party Dynamax extensions, they will probably work with the Vesper too. Overall, if you are like me and have invested heavily in the Dyna ecosystem, the Vesper is easily and naturally a primary blaster you should definitely consider. Another important function to revisit is the trigger. I love that the trigger is tactile and clicks like a computer mouse. I feel the trigger travel is good, but it can be better. The trigger is responsive and snappy in hyper mode, despite HC informing me that their tech found a software bug which resulted in 150 ms delay for the trigger in hyper mode. Honestly, I did not even notice the delay when playing with it. Anyway, HC will also fix this software bug for the main production batch. In addition, the Vesper also has jam detection and protection. It will detect jams for 3 seconds, auto stop and sound warning beeps. However, there is no way to demonstrate this in video, as I did not encounter any jams during testing, and I also do not want to deliberately activate this function, as this blaster is borrowed from IFB. Also, the Vesper is supposedly easy to take apart for maintenance. It is held together by 2 pins. Pulling out the rear pin will fold the blaster like an AR. Unscrewing the front pin will split the blaster's upper and lower receivers. When I get my Vesper next time, I will probably do a more in-depth video on its assembly, disassembly and maintenance. The Vesper measures about 45 cm long when fully collapsed. It is about 61 cm long when fully extended. It weighs about 1.2 kg with the controller, battery and 16-round empty mag. Let's move on to a quick chronograph test with 1 gram regular worker darts and in hyper mode. Average FPS is about 178, which is similar to 180 FPS as advertised. Before we move on to my personal opinions about the Vesper, here are 2 tutorials on how to set the FPS and burst modes without the add-on controller. Overall, I had a lot of fun playing with the Vesper. Other than a couple of software bugs as mentioned earlier, which HC will fix for the main production batch, this blaster is powerful, is very compact and lightweight, extremely quiet, is very responsive, has high rate of fire, has easy takedown for maintenance, is injection molded, has easily adjustable FPS and semi-burst mode settings, has optional controller with screen for further fine-tuning, and has optional empty mag detection module with empty lock mag in the future. Now comes one of the most important factors, the price. As of the making of this review video, this Vesper is estimated to be selling for about 300 plus Singapore dollars at IFB, and the first pre-order from IFB will include a free 4S Lipo battery. The optional controller with screen will cost about 75 to 80 Singapore dollars. Despite the retail price being on the premium side, I feel that you're definitely getting great quality and value for what you're paying for. The Vesper is definitely worth it if you can afford it. It also comes in a variety of colors: clear, white, red, teal and pink. I can safely say that the Vesper is overall the best injection molded brushless flywheel primary blaster to be released in 2025. or maybe 2026, depending on where you're located and how fast you can get your hands on one. If you found this review video helpful, please like and subscribe, and check out these other videos right now. Thank you and see you.